2 seconds.
There we go, and we're live. So welcome everybody to this week's NASCAR Talk. I'm aware that this is on a Friday evening rather than on a Saturday morning, but I got places to be tomorrow, and I probably won't be around all day. So we're doing this week's episode now, and I'm being joined by Johnny Gardner, back for a second week, but I'm also being joined by, for the first time in this new season, Austin LaPlante and Zach Rogers. Thanks for being here, guys.
Hey.
Correction, Seth. Don't you mean back for the third week on my end?
Were you here for Daytona?
I was here for Daytona. I was here for Atlanta. Now I'm here for Vegas.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought there was only like 2 people that were there for Daytona, and I didn't remember that you were one of them. Okay, anyway.
And he just turned dark.
Wow, what happened to my camera? Oh, good lord. My camera died.
Can't
What
see
the heck?
This is a Five Nights at Freddy's moment.
What the heck? Okay, wait, let me see if I can fix that. What the
Hey,
heck
you get to-
happened?
then you turn right
Everything else goes to hell.
Okay, let's see. Does this fix it? There we go. What the heck was that?
You done did it, Seth. You broke
Lights
it. Good
went
job.
out. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to be trying something here real quick. I'm going to see if maybe Mozilla Firefox is going to allow me to be able to see the stream chat as it's going on. But while I'm doing that, Atlanta went on, and somebody in this hangout actually was at Atlanta. Austin, how was it?
Oh my god, it was an amazing experience. I really want to thank my parents for hooking me up and able to get to go to all 3 races, Xfinity, Trucks, and Sprint Cup. All were amazing races. And even though I didn't want Kyle to win, excuse me, at least he accomplished something and won another track he hasn't won at before. And he's at least 2 tracks, the track we're at today, Las Vegas, and the road course of Watkins Glen.
And of course, you got it all capped off with your favorite driver winning the Sprint Cup race, too.
Yeah, that was a darn good call by Chad. I mean, he's always got the great call right there.
And I just want to go on record. I'm 2 for 2 in NASCAR Talk for giving the pick for the winner. I chose Hamlin at Daytona, and I chose Johnson in Atlanta.
Oh, if I didn't see it.
You know what Dylan Young has been doing? Dylan says he's 2 for 2 as well.
Oh, he's 2 for 2?
Yeah, Dylan put on Facebook after Atlanta that he...
Oh, wait, that's right. And if he beat me by only a couple points in NASCAR Fantasy because he had Harvick, and I think I had... I had somebody else that finished well, but finished just below Harvick, so he just barely bested me. Oh, no, it was because Harvick led a lot of laps. That's what it was.
I was just happy I got more than 8.5 points.
Yeah, Daytona messed up a lot of us. All right, so the low downforce package in Atlanta, to me, I don't think I actually watched Atlanta last year. I don't recall it, but this year, I actually really enjoyed watching it because it looked like with the low downforce package, nobody had a car that was handling well. Every driver was fighting their race car all race long, and it really, to me, showed off the driving talent rather than somebody just, having a walk in the park, runaway win at that track.
Yep, I bought radios that hears conversations of other drivers and crew chiefs, and I keep hearing that it's loose in one corner, it's loose off a corner, it's loose in the middle, tight, whatever. I mean, it was a pretty amazing race. Again, like you said, tough to handle. And after the first caution, I finally got food. I was hungry. I didn't get food until the
that long to get food.
You had to wait 200 laps.
After the first caution, everyone was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "I'm hungry, Dad."
Something's gonna happen. Gotta stay here. Can't eat yet. Okay, now there's caution. I can take a break.
Yeah.
For a phone cup. Just for a phone cup, too.
And I had to wait forever for that caution. I was actually really surprised. Was anybody besides me surprised that we actually went that long without a caution flag coming out?
I did.
Especially after you saw Harvick's right front tire on that first stop there. He blew his right front. I was surprised it lasted that long. I thought someone was going to blow a tire.
That's what I thought too. I thought the way they're spread out, more than likely you're not going to end up having a caution come out for a multi-car wreck, but I could definitely see a tire going down.
I didn't know.
Just give me 1 second. I'm just looking here to see, and no, apparently even with Mozilla Firefox, I cannot see the live chat in the yeah, I cannot see the live chat for the stream. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe
hang on, Seth.
Google
I got
Hangouts.
it.
Oh, that's right. You're able to see it. For some reason, I'm not able to see it. So anyway,
Seth, and it's disabled.
wait. Question and answer is disabled.
Yeah. There's a little feature on the sidebar that says Q&A, and I hit it, and it's disabled.
Yeah, this feature is disabled. I clicked on it as well.
Yeah, but the strange thing is, people have actually been able to comment during the stream. I've noticed that they commented when the stream goes up. You know,
I've done that twice.
I was like,
so, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's that Google Chrome and YouTube, they've kind of dropped some of their affiliations with each other. I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, what about the finish for you guys? Did you guys want to see a green-white checkered finish, or did you expect it was going to run, green to the end and basically be kind of like Harvick reeling in Johnson closing in there or something like that?
Well, I thought you were going to see Harvick reel him in because it looked like he was, but then I think Harvick got in 6 seconds and then Johnson started pulling away again. Like he was saving.
Yeah, it was either that Harvick used up his stuff or Johnson found something a little bit better for a line to run or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, after that first caution, I seriously thought I was going to go green all the way, but nope. Newman was a big boy and he blew a tire. Yes, I'm quoting from a video I saw in DJ Curtis. Basically, everyone knows who he is. Funny man.
Yep. So Jimmy Johnson winning the race, and now we know that Hamlin and Johnson are basically going to be in the chase. We kind of knew they were going to be in the chase anyway, but a big top story coming out of Atlanta was this whole Martin Truex Jr. thing, where he ended up getting a points penalty, Cole Pearns on probation. It's roof flap problems again. I mean...
And it wasn't just Truex, too.
Yeah,
Austin Dillon, Menard, Newman, McDowell, and Allmendinger all got 10 to 15-point penalties and fines as well.
Yeah, and there was some other kind of, I don't remember what it was called. There was some other kind of part of the race car. Dale Jr. ended up getting penalized. Matt DiBenedetto got penalized. They didn't get points penalties, I don't think, but they were called on infractions. What were they called?
I think they were issued warnings.
Yeah, I don't remember what the part was called though.
I think it was something with the right rear crush panel.
Okay, yeah, I think that's right. I remember Johnny, you reading the article to me. I just couldn't remember what the term was called. But
yeah,
I mean,
it was sometime last year. I read it to you, and it was something to do with the right rear crush panel now.
Yeah, I mean, NASCAR is definitely getting a lot more strict with their penalties for sure, but I think there was actually a statement issued about why Furniture Row Racing is appealing the penalty that NASCAR gave them. Something to do, I think it was with a spring that's in the roof flap, something like that. I mean,
really quick here.
Yeah, it's on J-Ski, I know that.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now.
They said there was like a spring.
Aha! Right in the roof flap.
Are you reading it
right now? So
let's see. Okay, here it is right here. Okay, what's his name? Garone, who is a... See, they don't even tell what he is, do they?
No.
They just say Garone, okay. Anyway, he says that in the thrash of getting through the winter of getting cars ready and getting cars built, we managed to let a part on the car, on the roof flap, get in the car that is unapproved. It's a spring up inside the roof flap. It's not necessarily easy to catch. NASCAR found it. I'm grateful they found it before we got on the track because it's a safety issue, no doubt, and we certainly aren't questioning that. So that's apparently the problem. The only question I have is, was this the same problem with the roof flap at Daytona? And if that's the case, why weren't they taking action about it when they got to Atlanta instead of getting caught with it again?
That's the.
I have no idea.
Well,
I mean, I know they probably had a lot of cars back in the shop and everything, but I mean, when you find that out, you should look at all the cars you've got, make sure that problem isn't there. I mean, you get called out by NASCAR once, okay, but you get called out by them a second time, and I'm not saying that the 78 team was trying to cheat in any way, because quite honestly, I don't see how there would be any advantage by having the roof flap up a little bit higher. I would think that would actually make it worse for the aerodynamics of the car, but I mean, when they get called out for it once, I don't really see why they didn't take precautions to make sure they didn't get called out for it a second time. But
Right.
they're appealing it anyway, and because they're appealing it, I guess Cole Pern's actually going to be able to still be involved in the 78 team. Yeah, he's still going to be able to be at the track and everything. But I don't know. I mean, there's stuff that we don't know, stuff that hasn't been explained, so we can't really make a.
Pretty much we're dark to all this.
Yep, can't really make a call on it. Oh, and by the way, Johnny DiBenedetto Jr. Colwett failed template inspection.
Yeah.
So that's what their problem was there.
Looks like they painted bad.
Yeah. You didn't put something here. You didn't put the NASCAR logo here. Fail.
Forgot the series logo.
There's a joke. Basically, we all know.
Yep. Let's see. The teams that got the penalties after Atlanta, we already got Truex. Also, the 47 of Allmendinger, the 3 of Austin Dillon, the 27 of Menard, the 31 of Newman, so all Childress cars right there. The 95 of McDowell, the 32 of Jeffrey Earnhardt, and then Matt DiBenedetto, Dale Jr., Colwett. So it'll be interesting to see if we're going to get penalties handed out at Las Vegas, or if maybe there won't be penalties handed out this time, because obviously NASCAR is getting a lot more strict, but it seems like drivers are trying different things to try and deal with the low downforce package, and Las Vegas is another speedway. It's not like Atlanta, but it's another speedway, and you never know. We could end up seeing more penalties after the Las Vegas race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's not forget, though, the RCR Xfinity teams got hit with penalties, too.
Right. That's true.
Did it say anything about trucks? I don't remember hearing about it on the.
There was one truck that did receive a penalty. I can't remember who it was.
I'm up on J-Ski right now. Hold on, it's the 86 truck. I know that.
Yeah.
One of the smaller teams. Really surprising.
Yep. The 86,
Brandon Brown.
Yep.
The truck trailing arm didn't meet specifications. Okay.
And it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Any team.
Yep.
Grew up.
And I don't really recall any other season starting out with this many penalties. So they're definitely coming down harder as far as the penalties are concerned. Which I kind of applaud them for, because there were a couple of things last season that did seem questionable. I can't remember even whose car it was. There was one time where there was like a little wing out front of the rear tire. I guess it was for more drag or something. I don't even remember whose car it was on, and they were wondering about that.
Fiasco.
Maybe there was one time when a pit crew member actually took his knee and kneed the car too.
What? I didn't see that.
Yeah. He took his knee and drove it into the car that kind of had it buckle out, so it had that kind of a wing.
Ooh.
I think they got called for it though. I don't remember if they did or not. I'm pretty sure they got called for it, got penalized for it, but.
Yeah, there's also the tire beating fiasco in Auto Club.
It was last year.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Newman was caught the heaviest. That was before
Anyway.
Here for spring break.
Let's get to Vegas.
Yeah. Moving forward to Vegas now. First off, we ended up having the Atlanta race at the very beginning go caution-free for a long portion of time. Now, Las Vegas a little bit wider. We got more of an opportunity for three-wide action. We're going to see, again, drivers utilizing inside, middle, high line. Where do you guys see this race on the caution-filled, caution-free spectrum?
In the middle.
Yep, in the middle.
I feel it in the middle at times.
Now, do you guys think with the low downforce and what we saw out of the race in Atlanta that we're in for an exciting race, or we're in for like one of those mile-and-a-half racetracks where it just kind of seems to trickle into a bore fest until you get to the end?
Well, I mean, I think Vegas has a fresher surface, so it could be.
Yeah, it's going to be
faster
almost
speed.
10 years. 10 years. The only thing that still gets me is the bumps in 1 and 2. That always gets me concerned. See, I'm going.
We've also seen Las Vegas actually be a place where members will flare, so that would be very interesting. So we're going to, just because I'm not certain how much time we got, we're going to jump right into our picks for Las Vegas. You're going to give me a driver to watch, a driver that you should stay away from if you're picking him for fantasy, and then a dark horse driver that you might not necessarily expect to have a good finish, but might be a sleeper pick to put in your fantasy team. And we'll go from left to right. So, Austin, let's start with you.
Okay, well, again, I just did my fantasy like a couple hours ago.
I haven't done mine yet.
Yeah.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I may have to look back, but I definitely know that I put in my dark horse. Some of you may be surprised, but I put Danica Patrick. She's been getting slightly getting better at those tracks, and you probably saw her. I think it was like a couple of years ago at Atlanta. Still talking about it quickly. She finished like around top 10, which pretty much surprised me. But more than likely, she probably had fresh tires, and I don't really remember much about that. But now the person who I picked to win, and it's you basically know. Do I even need to tell you? Even though he last won in 2010, but he still has good finishes. Yeah, Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the final thing you said?
A driver that we should stay away from. Driver that's not going to be successful there.
Well, I'm not really sure about that. I mean, Vegas is sort of in anyone can possibly win, so I'm not really sure if I have a person or not. I seriously don't. You may have one, but I don't.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's move over to Johnny then.
Oh, good lord. Going to the one that has the new computer. Okay, let's see. Now, I know last week I went away from Keselowski. I was a little, shall I say, surprised I didn't pick him. This time I'm going to go with him again. I'm going to pick him to try to repeat what happened in 2014. I'm going to go with Casey Mears as the dark horse for this week. He has an okay resume, but someone to stay away from. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm trying to think right now. I'm probably going to say the 23 of Reagan.
Alrighty. Alright, Zach, your picks.
All right. Well, for me, I'll start with my pick to win, which is Junior. Junior said he really likes the new low downforce package. Finished second, I believe it was. He beat Kyle Busch last week, if that's correct. And looking at his past 2 races at Las Vegas, he has an average finish of 3rd, and those were both top 5s. So I think Junior's a very good one of those top drivers to win the race this weekend. Driver to stay away from, I'm going to have to say, despite the finishes, or well, actually the average finish isn't that good anyway, but I'm going to say driver to stay away from is Clint Boyer. Boyer didn't have a good race last week at Vegas, and looking at the practice speeds and his history at Vegas, he's really not going to have another good week this week either. 35th on the first practice charts and an average finish 22nd the past 2 races. So you want to stay away from Boyer. He's not worth it. Now, for the dark horse, and I don't know if you could really call him a dark horse, but my dark horse is Vickers. He's raced the last 2 races at the track. Last year was one of the only races he ran before he ran into issues with blood clots again. And he's had 2 top 20 finishes. And looking at the first practice results, he was 5th fastest on the chart. So I think Vickers is a very good dark horse pick this weekend.
Okay, and I can clearly tell that you're using driveraverages.com, same as I am, so...
Well, I'm using racingreference.info. That's basically where I know most of my stuff.
When you were to say, let's take our 3 picks, I'm like, okay, let's see practice results.
Hey,
gotta think of who I'm picking for fantasy.
I use driveraverages.com every single week, so hey, good on you.
Sanford told me about the site. It's very useful.
Alright, so I'm going to go the opposite side of Team Penske. Johnny went with Keselowski. I'm going to go with Joey Logano because we had Daytona, Joe Gibbs came out of the woodwork. We had Atlanta, Hedrick Motorsports came out of the woodwork. Now it's time for another dominant team to come out with a win, and I think it's going to be the 22 of Logano. 2 starts, 7th place average finish. His average starting spot in those last 2 starts was 1.5. So I would look for Logano to be really fast in practice, really fast in qualifying, and start up near the front. And he's got a 12th place average finish in his 7 career races there. He's also been out in front, so I would look at Joey Logano to be the one to lead Team Penske to their first win of 2016. My driver to stay away from, can't believe I'm saying this, but I had him on my fantasy team for Daytona. I had him on my fantasy team for Atlanta, but Casey Mears will not be on my fantasy team for Las Vegas because this is the kind of a track where speed is required, and to be perfectly honest, the 13 team does not have speed. They don't have the speed that they need to be able to be up there in the top 20, quite honestly. His last 2 starts were about 26.5 place. His last 2 finishes, 25th and 28th. So if you want somebody for like a pick later after you've made better picks that you want to finish in the top 25, then you might choose Casey Mears. But he's not going to really show the speed that you're going to want him to as far as getting you a really good finish. So I would stay away from Casey Mears. But my dark horse pick is going to be a guy that I think is going to step forward. He ran well at Daytona, which shocked me. Didn't see as much of him in Atlanta, but this track is a track where the high line can get super good runs, and Kyle Larson really knows how to use that high line. He's good at Auto Club. He's good at Las Vegas. If he can get his car on the high line and get a good handling machine, I'm going to go with that 42 car to be the dark horse because he's really good at these fast mile-and-a-half racetracks.
Larson!
Yeah, I never thought of him at all. I never thought of him at all.
I was thinking someone's got to pick Larson, and nobody did, so I'm like, okay, he's open. I'll take him.
I got one last thing I just noticed. I know I've made my picks, but just 2 drivers to point out really quickly here. Looking at the practice chart, you've got Newman in 10th on speed, and Paul Menard is actually 4th. And if you look at their last 2 races at the racetrack, Newman's got an average finish of 5th. Menard's got an average finish of 7.5, so those 2 might have maybe a shot possibly this weekend as well.
Absolutely, and one other thing too, as far as the rookie battle has been going on this season, Brian Scott may have the one up on Chase Elliott with the fact that he had a start. I don't know if it was. I think it was last year, and he finished 13th. And he finished 13th place. So Brian Scott's got previous experience in a Cup car at this track, and not saying that he's going to, but he could be a challenger for Rookie of the Race against Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney. But then again, we've never seen Ryan. Well, actually, we did see Ryan Blaney. Blaney does have a start in a Cup car, finished 19th. So then again, you never know.
The only thing I have to say about Brian Scott, though, is even though he's been racing on some of these tracks, like last season he did in the 33 car, that was with the 33 team. Now, even though it was Circle Sport Racing, it was a lot of help from RCR, and this is a second RPM team, and I look at that 13th place finish, I say, well, Chevy's always usually got it. Now, even though I had Scott on my fantasy team last week because I saw he qualified 10th, worst pick I've ever made. I'm never going to do that again. He finished like 30th. And even though he has finished 13th and he qualified, where did he qualify? He qualified 23rd that race. So if he does qualify well and he can survive, I think he could finish up there again, but looking at right now at practice, he was 31st on the chart. So
I'll tell you what, I'll do you one better though too on proving me wrong on my point of Brian Scott, and going off what you said. He was in an RCR car. Now you already mentioned Ryan Newman average finish of 5th place in his last 2 starts. Paul Menard average finish of 7.5. Both were Richard Childress machines. If you look at the Richard Petty Motorsports car for the last 2 starts at Las Vegas, Eric Almirola, average finish of 25.5. So to your point, yeah, the Richard Childress engines definitely seem to be a lot better at Las Vegas than Richard Petty Motorsports.
Right.
I mean, even though we saw good speed out of Ford last week, we saw good speed out of Bain in qualifying, Stenhouse, Brian Scott, everybody was surprised about it. So they had good qualifying speed, but when the race started going, it was shown who had the better race car, who could do the better high line, low line, whatever you say it. Bain basically dropped back, so did Scott. I never even saw him near the front except for when they started the race, and I think Stenhouse hung around the front a little longer, but he eventually faded back too. So Ford is showing some power besides Penske, because we know Penske has the power. Besides Penske, the Fords are starting to show power in qualifying again, but they need to transition that into race and keep good race speed so they can stay where they start.
Now, interestingly enough, none of us picked a Joe Gibbs racing car to win this week's race at Las Vegas, but if you look down through the top 10 in average finishes career-wise, Matt Kenseth with 16 starts, Carl Edwards with 11 starts, and Denny Hamlin with 10 starts all have a 12th-plus average finish. And Kyle Busch not too far down with 11 starts, 14th place average finish. Now, do we see Joe Gibbs Racing not necessarily winning, but being a force to be reckoned with as well at Las Vegas?
More than likely, yeah.
I think so, because if you look at the last 2 races, Hamlin's up there with a top 5. Kenseth has had 2 top 10s, and while Kyle hasn't had, well, Kyle didn't even race last year, but back in 2014, Kyle finished in 11th. And even though Edwards is pretty far down as far as his last 2 races go, he did get a top 10 in one of those races, whether it was last year or 2014, and the other year he got involved in something. So there, I would say JGR will be a force to be reckoned with, but I don't really see any of them winning until I see qualifying or another practice session, because Kyle Busch is down there in 25th, and I thought he would have been a heck of a lot better.
Well, I kind of think, based just off of this season as far as momentum, the one driver that would be the one to watch out of the Joe Gibbs Racing stables would be Kyle Busch, because he finished well in the Daytona 500, and then he ended up picking his way through the field after starting dead last at Atlanta. So as far as momentums is concerned, I would think the 18 team would definitely be a driver to watch. Now, like you said, he didn't do as well as far as speed in practice, but I mean, if they get that thing in the right setup for him and get it handling the way he wants, we know Kyle Busch at these kind of tracks. He can move low, he can move high, he can make things happen, and that team definitely has good speed. So if I were to pick a driver out of the Joe Gibbs Racing stables, it would probably have to be Kyle Busch.
And his brother Kurt didn't race Vegas last year. Did Kurt race Vegas last year, or was it the year before he didn't get to race?
It was last year.
It was last year he didn't get to race Vegas. And so based on 2014, Kurt didn't finish so well, but looking so far after one practice session, he's up there third, right behind the two Penske cars.
Yeah,
only off by a couple thousandths of a second there. So I think Kurt's got a really good shot at having a good weekend, maybe getting his win here early on in the season.
And the speed we saw out of both him and Harvick definitely shows Stewart-Haas Racing's getting up there as far as the aero package is concerned and everything. Kind of interesting, though, that the team owner could not figure it out, and yet his drivers are able to figure it out, but nonetheless.
And one last thing I'd like to just quickly point out, if we have time here, is looking through the drivers here for the last two races. You look at Hendrick. Junior's the only one up there in the top 10. The next Hendrick driver is Casey Kane.
Yeah.
And Kane had the 6th fastest lap in the first practice session. Kane didn't do well last week, which was kind of a shocker, so maybe Kane looking to do what he usually does best, is do well at 1.5 milers. And he's
I was surprised too.
Speed.
I thought that Atlanta especially was going to be a track he'd do well at, and he fell off the lead lap very quickly, and it really surprised me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so with that being said, do we got anything for the wrap-up here for any final stories heading into Vegas?
I think I saw that before Stewart comes back, when Bass Pro Shops is on the 14, it's going to be Vicker. No, when Bass Pro's on the car, it's Ty Dillon. When it's anything else, Vickers will be running the races.
Correct.
No word on when Bass Pro's running or not, though.
Hmm.
And Speed Stick is back with Cole Witt now.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. So the 98 is going to... Wait, how many races?
4.
4 races?
Only 4. I didn't see how many races they had said. I didn't see it on J-Ski.
It's 4.
Just 4 races, really? Wow, that's not much.
Yep.
What are we looking at? Jimmy Johnson.
Batman, and Junior for Batman as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
That's what I got. Also got Casey Kane and Chase Elliott and Edwards' Stanley car as well. I know that we're running out of time, so I just want to quickly show you guys as well. And to people who still don't believe me and say, "Did you really get signed Brandon Jones' shirt?" As Seth Cole's camera turned when it got dark, that's his signature right there. You see how cool that is?
Doggone you, camera!
Also,
Someone activate Five Nights at Freddy's.
I found 2 other small things. I'm sure some people have noticed, this was actually more beginning of the week, is that Stenhouse has got Sunny D as a sponsor.
Oh, I love that
5
paint
races.
scheme.
Yeah, that looked awesome.
And that paint scheme looks
Awesome.
really nice. And 2 other things, Joey Gase is going to be driving for the 32 team at Phoenix.
Yep.
And the 2017 NASCAR race dates are expected to be set really early this year because of the 5-year agreement NASCAR has made with all the current tracks on the schedule.
Is there still that whole thing going on with the possibility that Sprint won't be...
Sprint is not coming back, I believe. Sorry to cut you off, Johnny. I believe I saw a week or 2 ago before the season started, if I'm not sure if it was USA Today or Fox Sports or something, but there was an article a week or 2 ago. One of the people from the marketing department said they've got a good amount of people looking to be the sponsor for the series after the season ends. So it looks like they have a good idea who's going to possibly be the sponsor, and Sprint is definitely not coming back.
I think we should make a push for Sega.
No.
See what Trent Dunham does after that. Welcome to the NASCAR Sega Cup Series. Wait, what?
I think we could see Coca-Cola or... I think
that would sound strange.
The
Coca-Cola Cup Series.
Welcome to the Triple CS.
Bring back Winston!
I think a year ago, 2 years ago, Dish Network was trying to buy the sponsorship from Sprint.
And welcome everyone to the Donald Trump Cup Series.
Oh no!
Hey, Seth!
Please no.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, the Hillary Clinton Cup Series.
I would love it if it was the NASCAR Winston Cup Series again. I would.
I don't think you're gonna see Winston come back.
Is it even still here? I think it is.
They don't allow Tabasco cars anymore.
I don't know. Is Winston still in business?
I think so. I think I've seen them in stores.
I mean, I swear I see so many other companies besides Winston now.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't.
Looks like it's time to wrap it up. So, perfect timing. So, thanks everyone for tuning in for this week's episode. Again, sorry this not on Saturday morning, but at least you got an episode this weekend. I want to thank Austin, Johnny, and Zach for joining me for this episode. Appreciate you guys' input.
No problem.
Anytime.
I deeply apologize for my microphone's horribility.
Alright, so we'll see you guys next Saturday morning for NASCAR Talk, and until then, see you later.
Bye.
Johnson!